Welcome back to another episode of Waratah Cove. Thanks for joining me again. If it's your first time, thanks for watching. This episode we're working on Chinatown. So we're going to be doing a area which I've already kind of chosen. We're going to be working on this area here. So what I'm thinking, we've got a tram line running along here and there's a normal 4-lane road here. So I'm actually thinking of just doing like a little road here, which will just like a path road, which will be our Chinatown area, and then just filling out the surrounding areas. So this is kind of where I've decided to put it. This is in comparison to the city here. So we won't be doing any more large high rises like this in this area. I was kind of thinking of maybe doing the Chinatown here, as we do have a tram line here. It is very similar to the one in Sydney that actually it is in Haymarket, the area which has a tram line running through, so I wanted it to be kind of similar, but yeah, I don't know, I just didn't really feel that it would suit this area. I'm thinking maybe more of just a residential and kind of old warehousey area, as usually I guess with all the cities, if they're near the water, that's kind of where the industry would have originally laid. So that's where I'm thinking of putting most of the buildings along here. So that will be in a later episode. So we'll just be working on this one for now. But yeah, so let's jump into the time lapse and we'll see what we get done. So I've just started off by leveling out the area that I'm planning to work in, just figuring out a bit of the layout as well. So the main part we're focusing on, of course, is the Chinatown area. So that little path that I'm adding here is going to be the main street that we're going to put all of our little restaurants and shops around. So I do want this to just be kind of a pedestrian street. I don't really want that much traffic to go through it. Just like the one in Haymarket, which is in the Chinatown in Sydney, it's pretty much vehicle free, but they do have night markets on Fridays, which allows, all the pop-up tents and all the food stalls to come out, so it's only pedestrians then. I would like this one just to be pedestrians walking through, because I'm putting a lot of restaurants along there, but unfortunately with City Skylines, the buildings can't actually function unless they get vehicles to visit there, so we will see how far we get with that. But so at the moment, just selecting a few buildings, going through the workshop and picking out the types of buildings I want to place along here. There are some really amazing ones that I'm putting down at the moment. They are part of the Melbourne Chinatown collection. They are incredible. They're perfect, so definitely adding all those in just to give it that bit of a Chinatown vibe, and a few other just classic Australian buildings as well. So the main idea for the street is to have lots of restaurants around there. Like most major cities around the world, everyone has a Chinatown, so I guess you'd kind of understand how it's going to look. So yeah, I'm just playing around with a few buildings and seeing what's going to suit the area. So I was just reading up a bit of the history on Chinatown because I didn't really know too much about it. I've been there and so many times, I couldn't even tell you how many times. Pretty much every time I go into the Haymarket or Darling Harbour area, I usually do walk through Chinatown. There's this shop there that sells these really good little deep fried custard dessert ball things, and oh my god, they're so good. They're like 30 cents for one, so I usually get like a whole bag. Food's really good. There's lots of little food courts. Opposite the tram tracks to Chinatown, there is Paddy's Markets. So it's a huge indoor market, pretty much open, I think, it's not every day, it's a few days a week, but it is just packed full of everything. You can get everything, clothes, souvenirs, food, just lots of everything. It's just crazy. So that's always a fun place to go if you're in the city, just to walk around. It's all really cheap as well. But yeah, I haven't added that kind of market area to this section, but there is definitely going to be a market, so I will be doing like a big old market area at some point. So yeah, looking up the history, I guess it was pretty interesting. I didn't know this, but yeah, a lot of Chinese immigrants actually came over in the early 1800s because there was like a massive gold rush. So Chinatown wasn't originally where it is now, which is in Haymarket. It was actually in the Rocks, so it's just a little bit, I don't know, not really that far away, but it was in the Rocks district, and it was actually known as the Chinese Quarter. Apparently there was like this alleged Chinese gambling and immortality kind of thing. This royal commission happened because there was just so many opium dens and brothels that were found in the area, so they actually had to kind of get rid of that area, and then they ended up moving over, well, pretty much a long time ago, actually early 1900s, they ended up moving over to where it is now. Yeah, it's been there for over 100 years now, pretty well developed. But I guess since, there's a lot of big apartments now, so there's a lot of high rises, there's a lot of residential areas around there now. So that is something that I will be taking inspiration from as well, as we do need residents in this city. So there's a lot of new residential buildings that are going to pop up around here. So now that we've kind of moved on from the main Chinatown area, I'm just working on some of the intersections that surround the place. This one just took so long to figure out again. I'm still, I'm going to get there one day, but every time I'm driving around in real life, I'm looking at the intersections, looking at them going, how does this work? Where are the lines going? I feel like there's got to be a simpler way to think of it. I think once I understand it, it'll make sense. But yeah, this one just took a while. Chinatown street. I did put down these big, you can kind of see them, these Chinatown arches. They are actually the entranceways to the one in Sydney, which is so perfect. And someone's made them, they're amazing. So I'll definitely link them below because they just made it so much better. I really did try to create the vibe, I guess, with using a lot of Chinese style buildings, but also I did, place a lot of seating down, a lot of fairy lights. So there are a few like little statues that I placed down, just trying to really make it look like a very Chinatownish area. But well, I'm very happy with it. And this is, with the real Chinatown, you can't actually see the water. This one you can. I like how it's just like when you walk down the street, the further down you go, you can actually just see the ocean. I think that's so cool. So once I moved on from there, detailing a lot of the buildings around there, just adding a few posters, bits of graffiti, just trying to, I guess, give it more character. The area, it's not going to be such a high class area. There's a lot of restaurants around here and a lot of residents living in here too, so it's just kind of filling out the space and making it look lived in, I guess. So I did want to come out a little bit from the quay area and actually start building a little private pier for some of the private boats. You see them all over the place in Sydney. A lot of people have their own boats. Of course, you've got to be loaded to have a little private pier next to the actual city, so these are going to be pretty nice boats. But yeah, I thought I'd definitely add one in because it was just looking a little bit blank along here, and I didn't like how the Opera House quay blended into this one as well, so I just kind of wanted a way to distract away from it. So I did place these blocks down to kind of shape the area a bit. Then I'm trying to work on a staircase to get down there. The annoying thing is with the Opera House quay, you can kind of see once it gets to the edge near the water, it goes up a little bit. This is like it's there because in real life so people don't actually jump off, but I'm trying to make that transition into the staircase, so I have to raise it up quite high, and I'm just trying to figure out how to kind of hide that area, make it look like it's all built together. So these sandstone stairs are great. I use them a lot in this city. It's perfect because there's sandstone everywhere in Sydney. But yeah, just adding a few iron fences in just so they match the other pier as well, so that looks really good. And yeah, so just adding in a few of these other little things. I can't remember what these are actually called, but yeah, I'm just creating like a staircase along here, so this whole thing is just a little layered staircase to get up to the pier. But yeah, so once I've kind of built that area, I do realize like I kind of look at it and it just looks a little bit too new, so I really do want to make it look a bit more older because I want this to look like it's been there for a long time. And I guess when it's just sitting in the water as well, it's got to have that grimy pier look. So I do end up finding this network which is perfect. So I end up placing this network around the whole thing, which adds it looks like this kind of stained, like mossy kind of look around the edge of it, which works perfectly well. So I do end up putting that down, and it just makes it look so much more realistic. So this is all the residential area I'm building. I'm just filling it out as much as I can. I want a lot of new buildings because I would imagine that before all these were placed, this would just be a lot of industrial old buildings and a lot of old factories and stuff like that. So I do add a few older buildings, but then most of the time it is going to be pretty new apartments. So we've moved in now, a lot more residents. So hopefully this city can function a tiny bit better. But yeah, we're just filling out this whole area now and putting in some parking as well, making sure they all have somewhere to go. But yeah, it is a little bit weird, this area, because it's raised up. So half of it is on a slope. So there's a lot of moving things around, trying to make it not look really awkward. But I kind of just figure it out. You can hide anything with a tree, I guess. And but yeah, the parking kind of annoys me when you place the parking decals down and half of them just don't show up. My OCD comes in when that happens. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta redo this whole area, something doesn't work. But in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because the cars are gonna fill up and block it up anyway and I won't see it. But little things like that do annoy me. But yeah, this area does just work kind of well. I don't want to put too much detail into this place either, just because so much of the city is going to be like this. But just with the big blank spaces, I do end up just popping some curbs down, filling it up with some gardens, adding some paths in as well, just so you can see the residents walking around in different areas other than the main paths along the road. So this one that I'm placing down at the moment is just great because this building has these little like a gap area where people can drive or walk through. So I just add a path underneath it, so it'll be nice to see the Sims walking under there and just break up the pedestrian traffic a bit. Really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I feel like it's coming together really well. I really love what I've done today with the Chinatown. Hope you guys did too. So please subscribe to my channel or leave a like or comment. Would really appreciate it. I'm going to try and upload once a week. But yeah, hope you have a nice day and let's enjoy the cinematics. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.